Beth and Debbie, thank you so much here in Columbia, South Carolina. A top 15 showdown on the final day of the regular season in the Southeastern Conference between Kentucky and the Gamecocks. And back-to-back buckets early for USC as South Carolina out in front 4-2. The Hall of Famer Carolyn Peck. I am Roy Philpott. And so much to talk about on a day like today. Georgia Amoore, her first shot and now her second. Off the mark on 2 straight threes, and a foul inside goes against Chloe Kitts.
South Carolina has their hands full. They're playing a Kentucky team that is playing with a lot of confidence. Thursday, they completely handled the Lady Vols 82-58. That might have been the most shocking game in the SEC.
There's Strack off the mark. 4th offensive rebound for the Cats. On the deck, and a jump ball. Arrow favors UK. What a game that was. The 2nd largest win against a ranked foe in Kentucky basketball history over the Lady Vols. And boy, the offense was clicking on all cylinders. Carolyn over 51% from the floor, but the defense was also of the lockdown variety.
But I think, Roy, the most impressive thing, 46 points in the paint for the Kentucky Wildcats.
Another touch for Amoore, and the elbow pass goes out of bounds. Wildcats coming in at 22-5, 11-4 in the SEC. Take a look at the starting 5 for Carolina. Powell, Fagan, Kitts, Hall, and Johnson. As the 2021 recruiting class was celebrated moments before tip. Chloe Kitts off the mark. Amoore the rebound. The crossover, and Amoore off the glass.
She is special. This senior guard, change of directions, just so unpredictable with the basketball.
Joined in the backcourt by Deja Lawrence, a transfer from Charlotte, and they have been a dynamic duo. Powell, the mid-range.
South Carolina needs Powell to get back on track. She had a tough shooting night against Ole Miss. To see one go through early for her has got to bring back that confidence.
2-point game, nearly 3 minutes in. Powell the steal. High dribble and lays it up and in. It's 8-4.
That was an assist to Bree Hall with that running screen.
And a steal. Raven Johnson connects. 10-4 Carolina.
The Gamecocks are like piranhas right now. When you're talking about an SEC championship, they are going after it early.
6-0 run in just over 30 seconds. And the 3 is banked in by Tioni Key. So Tioni Key connects, and that makes it a 1-possession game again, and a big shot early.
The post game, when so much is talked about with Kentucky of Georgia Amoore, but the post game of Key, Strack, and then Silva coming in off the bench has made Kentucky a force.
Bree Hall, left side of the lane, rejected. And the Cats come away with it. Amelia has it. Able to give Kentucky possession back. And Amoore, her quickness on full display early. Key made the 3 moments ago, just 24% from distance this season. Amoore way more effective, but off the mark. And another offensive rebound.
The hustle plays right now, working in the favor of the Kentucky Wildcats.
Coach, 5 offensive boards already.
Well, in order to compete and stay in the game with South Carolina, that is an area you've got to at least stay close. If you win it, that's a plus, but at least stay close with South Carolina.
Big day in the SEC. Who will win the regular season championship? Will it be South Carolina or Texas? Or will they both share that title? Kitts, a nice move, just off the low block.
You know, coming into this game, only one starter was averaging double figures, and that's Te-Hina Powell. But after the Ole Miss game, the triple-double put up by Chloe Kitts, 22 points by Sanaya Fagan. That's a great sign for South Carolina.
First triple-double for Carolina in 3 years. Up and under, now outside to has it. In and out with a 3. Powell controls. 1 on 3, and she'll dribble it outside. Here's Johnson. Raven Johnson, the runner. And the rebound controlled by Strack. It was a perfect outing in the win against the Lady Vols for Clara Strack. 11 for 11 from the floor. 23 points, 15 boards.
And she scored in all different areas, in the paint, from the three, getting on the glass, just a little bit of everything from Claire Strike.
And Coach Te-Hina Key with 7 points, the lead back down to 1.
I think Te-Hina Key might win the award for most improved player in the country with the transition she has made from how she played at North Carolina to what she's doing at Kentucky this year.
And the production has more than tripled. And a back and forth affair to start here in Columbia. The lead at 1 for Carolina.
Georgia Amoore pushing in transition. We got a 1-point game. The guards controlling the tempo of this ball game. Buckle up. We're in for a good one.
And a great start in our game, 12-11. South Carolina leading Kentucky. The Hall of Famer Carolyn Peck. I am Roy Philpott. Welcome to March, and what a great start for all of college basketball fans so far.
Oh, it definitely has. We've been watching Georgia and Tennessee going at it on the SEC network. For a while there, it was Louisville, Notre Dame, till Notre Dame took off. These final games of the regular season, it comes down to what matters, and you want to have great momentum as you're going into your conference tournament.
All right, so a lot to talk about today in the SEC. And the bracket for the upcoming SEC tournament in Greenville looks like this. And the key component here is what you see in the top right-hand corner of your screen. The #1 seed yet to be determined. Texas and South Carolina can both stake their claim for that #1 seed with wins today. Texas currently facing off against Florida as we speak over on SEC Network. South Carolina here against Kentucky. If both teams win because they split the season series and because they also ran the table against the rest of their SEC schedule, the champion in terms of who will be the #1 seed will be determined by a coin flip later today. Both teams deemed champions the SEC regular season. But a lot to unpack, and that coin flip will take place at halftime of the upcoming Ole Miss LSU game with Commissioner Greg Sankey. Joyce Edwards checks in. She's off the mark. A full sprint down the court. Gamecocks get it back.
South Carolina has gone to their reserves. 3 have subbed in. They will keep fresh legs on the floor. Kentucky has done that as well, but they don't have the depth of South Carolina. But it really didn't matter for Kentucky when that game against Tennessee.
Gamecocks start 7 of 11 from the floor. Tessa Johnson off the bench connects with a mid-range. South Carolina leads the planet in terms of bench production this year. Deja Lawrence rejected out of bounds by Malaysia Fulwiley. Oh, the athleticism.
Malaysia Fulwiley, the sophomore. She has got springs in her legs. Look how high she gets up. That is amazing.
Kentucky gets it back. Lexi Blue on the floor for the first time. The three-pointer by Lawrence is off the mark. Gamecocks bench actually outscoring the starters this season. Only D1 team where that is the case.
Well, the 2 leading scorers coming off the bench for South Carolina, and Joyce Edwards and Malaysia Fulwiley.
And Joyce Edwards methodically, as she's gone through her freshman campaign, getting better by the minute. Lawrence off the bounce, the pump fake, and the free throw jumper no good. Raven Johnson taps it out of bounds. It'll stay on this end with 2:13 to go in the quarter.
You're talking about Joyce Edwards, number 8 in white for South Carolina, getting better. And Dawn said she carries over how she operates in the classroom to how she carries that over onto the court. She has good habits. She sets priorities, and she has the discipline to do what she needs to in order to be successful, both on and off the court.
Or Silva on the floor for the first time. Amoore lost it. Regrouped in time to get off a shot, and now it's stolen back by UK. Amoore the lob. And Silva inside, no. Was bothered by Fagan. Here come the Gamecocks.
There's just a little bit of a difference between a freshman and a sophomore. Silva, the freshman, Sanaya Fagan, the senior. Look, she's been there, done that.
Edwards again, another touch, and the block by Key. Fulwiley for 3. Lexi Blue grabs the board.
Look, it's going to be a battle on the glass. Kentucky right now out-rebounding South Carolina 11-7.
And on the offensive glass, Cats have been dominant so far. Amoore shows it. Now to Silva. Lawrence again from downtown. This time connects. We're tied at 14. Now the transfer from Charlotte, when Kenny Brooks brought her to Lexington, he said it felt like she averaged about 100 points per game.
I talked to Georgia Amoore about Deja Lawrence, and she described her as a sniper.
It's a great description. Mid-range is there. Gamecocks back in front. High energy start, a great pace here in the SEC in the final day of the regular season. Key from downtown again, and wide left.
I love the pace of this game. Both teams playing free, looking for their shot, and the defenses are locked in.
Cats with a chance to go 2 for 1. Fulwiley, she'll practice those reverse layups, the insane finishes. She specializes in that department.
Now coming into the Ole Miss game, and over the last few games, she was shooting 60% because she was finishing those layups.
Gamecocks with the lead. Johnson left wide open. That's a three! Tessa Johnson from downtown. Shot clock is off. Here's Lawrence. And a flurry at the end of the first, a 7-0 run to give the Gamecocks the advantage.
We talked about the strength of South Carolina is their bench. Well, you have Malaysia Fulwiley getting it done inside, and then the three-point sniper, Tessa Johnson, in transition, have the Gamecocks in control.
We mentioned earlier the SEC's #1 seed for the upcoming tournament in Greenville could be decided by a potential coin flip later today. And we look back through time and notable coin flips throughout history. How about Portland, Oregon back in 1845? Two business partners flipped a penny to decide the name of the town. Then the Wright brothers, the first flight, 1903, decided who would pilot the plane for the first time with a coin flip. Secretariat's ownership decided by a coin flip, the eventual Triple Crown winner. The NBA draft #1 pick from 66 to 84. It was a coin flip between champions of the Western and Eastern Conference. And the list goes on. And perhaps later today, Greg Sankey, the SEC commissioner, a coin flip to determine the #1 seed in the upcoming SEC tournament. If Texas and South Carolina both win their games today, final day of the regular season, Edwards no. And the rebound pops out to Sanaya Tyler because they split their head-to-head meetings and also because they ran the table against the remaining portion of their SEC schedule.
Yeah, South Carolina has pulled out on the lead against Kentucky, but Florida and Texas, that's a nail-biter right now early in the first quarter.
Key in traffic and a foul called. Te-Hina picks up her first. So all eyes here in Columbia, 15 versus 6, and also down in Austin, Texas, for the Gators and the Longhorns as the charge to Te-Hina Key.
It's going to be so important for South Carolina to stay connected defensively as they move on, close out the regular season into the SEC tournament and beyond.
Pow on the drive was fouled by Georgia Amoore. Dawn Staley, year 17 in Columbia, the 3 national championships, over 630 wins in her career as a head coach. And she was all business in our conversations earlier this morning. The floater by Pow. Gamecocks by 9.
South Carolina taking good shots. That's one of the good habits that Dawn Staley talked about with her team. When they win, they stay true to that.
Amoore stops a 9-0 run, 23-16. She's got 4.
Georgia Amoore averages about 19 points a game, 7 assists a game. She's responsible for over 50% of Kentucky's offense.
Fulwiley trying to spot Kitts on the cut, and the pass came right to our Hall of Fame coach here sitting courtside.
I had my hands ready, Roy.
You were ready.
Hands were ready.
You're always ready. I've learned that about working with you through the years. Wildcats get it back. And here's Amoore, over 2,300 points in her collegiate career that started at Virginia Tech with head coach Kenny Brooks.
South Carolina, doing a good job of taking away the two-man game between Georgia Amoore and Clara Strack.
Amoore breaks free for a moment off the left side of the rim. Key on the offensive glass, no. Tessa Johnson with the rebound, and here's Kitts off a triple-double in the win over Ole Miss. Fulwiley off the mark. And it goes back to UK. Kenny Brooks, his first season after coming over from Virginia Tech, and those 11 SEC wins, most for a first-year head coach in program history. Brought Georgia Amoore along as well. In addition to Clara Strack, and inside on cue.
Clara Strack coming in. Remember, Liz Kitley played at Virginia Tech, and I asked Kenny Brooks, I said, how similar is she to Liz Kitley? He said, not at all. And what he likes about Clara Strack is her versatility, and the ball doesn't stick when it comes inside or it touches the hands of Strack. She can move the basketball, the decisions that she makes within the offense.
5-point advantage, 2.5 minutes into our second quarter. Big day in college basketball. Big night last night where Southern Cal handled UCLA in the season sweep. Trojans claim the Big Ten regular season championship. Who's going to do it in the SEC? Here's a steal. Pow again. Boy, the anticipation.
Yeah, Pow's play is back to what we're used to seeing. I thought she was a step behind against Ole Miss. That pep is back for number 0 in white.
3 steals for South Carolina to start. Lead back to 7. Strack will try to take Edwards. Ripped away by Kentz, and a foul call.
The anticipation, the rotation of the basketball. You get in the passing lanes, and Te-Hina Pow off to the races on the other end.
Te-Hina Pow 8 points, 3 dimes, 2 steals to begin this one.
I think that it just appeared to me that she may have been a little under the weather on Thursday. Plus, she took a hard hit, ran into the stanchion underneath the goal, and I think that stiffened her up. She's worked all that out coming in today.
She has been engaged early. Raven Johnson from the paint.
You go back to your conversation. You asked Dawn Staley about how she has maintained or built the standard of success, and she talked about good habits. And I said, what is the best bad habit? What's the biggest bad habit you had? And she said, at times and in our losses, it's taken bad shots. South Carolina's taken good ones today. They
have. She wouldn't reveal any of the other bad habits to us. She said, that's all I'm going to give you. Bad shots, and sometimes when it comes to rebounding, could we be a little better, a little cleaner? And then she stopped it right there, and we moved on to another topic.
Yeah, she knew that we were going to share that with our viewers at home, and we can't give you everything.
Lawrence thinking about another 3. She'll get it back and launch. Deja Lawrence off the mark. Tessa Johnson's been active coming in off of Dawn Staley's bench. And a foul called on Key, her second. Don't forget our final big Monday doubleheader of the season headed your way tomorrow. Number 2 Duke against Wake Forest. The Deacs a comeback win yesterday against Notre Dame at home. Their NCAA tournament chances are still available. And then Houston and KU at 9 o'clock here on ESPN. Big Monday, the season, the end of the year is here, at least in terms of the regular season.
I can't believe it. I'm so excited about the tournament. Going back to Tess Johnson on the defensive end and getting on the glass. Rebounding has been an area where South Carolina in years past has dominated. Well, it's because they've had a dominant center. This year, it's got to be by committee. They got to gang rebound. The guards have to get involved as well.
Kitts finds a way to get it in.
The weight room, it pays off for Chloe Kitts.
It certainly has. She's got 4 coming off the triple-double. First triple-double for the Gamecocks in 3 years. Aaliyah Boston, the last one to do it. And a foul called before the shot by Amoore. It goes against Bree Hall.
But Chloe Kitts, 16 points, 13 rebounds, and 10 assists. And asking Dawn about that, she said, well, a lot of it had to do with Sanaya Fagan being in the right place at the right time. And when they had a tremendous connection against Ole Miss on Thursday night. Fagan was light on her feet, cutting to the basket, and Kitts was finding her.
Mentioned that triple-double by Aaliyah Boston. That came with blocks. Kitts triple-double with assists. First time we've seen that for South Carolina. Nearly halfway home in our second quarter. Gamecocks with their largest lead at 11. Has it off the bounce and the layup.
And Kenny Brooks getting some offense with Georgia Amoore on the bench, grabbing a few minutes of rest.
Kentucky a cold start from the floor to begin. 9 of 28, just 32%. All missed the three. And a jump ball keeps it on this end for South Carolina. 29-20, final day of the SEC's regular season. We're back after this. Kentucky shooting just 32%. Dawn Staley's team defensively has been absolutely of the lockdown variety. And we mentioned the coin flip, and you heard Kelsey and Rebecca talking about it potentially in the studio. Both Texas and South Carolina win today. It will come down, the #1 seed in the upcoming SEC tournament, to a coin flip at halftime of the Ole Miss LSU game over on the SEC network. That game tips off at 4 o'clock Eastern, because these two teams, Texas and South Carolina, split their season series, and they did not lose to another SEC team all year. Out of the timeout, Sanaya Fagan connects inside.
Fagan has just been the force. She has got to be that anchor inside for South Carolina for them to continue to advance as this season progresses.
Silva down low, double team, triple teamed, and stolen away. Bree Hall got a fingertip on it. Now 7 turnovers for the Cats. Kitts off the mark. Deja Lawrence, 1-on-2 the other way, and Lawrence finds a way to put it up and in. And a chance for 3.
Kentucky, just like Tennessee, you see Kenny Brooks wanting this to be a fast pace and to get back, score before South Carolina can get their defense set. There's nobody there when it's one-on-one and you can get your hips past the defender. You got to go to the right.
Deja Lawrence, the Charlotte transfer, started every game this year. In fact, Wildcats have started the same 5 players in every game up to this point. And Lawrence missed the free throw. Kentucky paces the SEC in free throw percentage. Lead remains at 9. First time either side has attempted a free throw. Kickball by Amoore, just checked back in. Coach, is there anything you want to see differently from Kentucky, understanding the magnitude of the moment and just how solid South Carolina has been to start?
Well, on the offensive end for Kentucky, when you are playing a solid defensive team, you've got to be patient enough to get to your second and third actions. Make South Carolina have to defend you in the half court, because otherwise you're taking quick shots and your team's not in the position to offensive rebound. Kentucky's doing a nice job on the offensive side of the glass. They are out rebounding South Carolina 9-3, but then South Carolina shoots 57% from the floor.
And the lead back to 11. You see the rebounding advantage in favor of Kentucky. And on the offensive glass, Lawrence has been a spark elbow jumper, and that's silky smooth. Lawrence with 7.
South Carolina switching, and Lawrence looking to see when she gets a big on her and using her quickness to her advantage.
Fun player to watch, always engaged on both ends of the court, and what an addition for Kenny Brooks through the portal after a sensational career at Charlotte, the 49ers program.
You know, Brooks said he knew what he needed when he came to Kentucky, and the shooting historically of what Lawrence did at Charlotte definitely fit.
The spin by Edwards, Joyce Edwards, oh my.
That's a freshman? Come on. Joyce Edwards is so smooth and composed with the basketball.
Double figures in 5 straight games, headed into this one this afternoon. Tyler drains a 3 and a big shot. Her first bucket, 35-27.
Because Kentucky can shoot the three, South Carolina can by no means take their foot off the gas.
Gamecocks led Ole Miss by a point in Oxford on Thursday night, and then really dominated in the second half. Chloe Kitts has been dominant, both in that contest and in the first half today. She's got 6.
Post-to-post passing is what I have seen improve from South Carolina as of late.
Amoore weaving around on the perimeter, drains the shots. And Kentucky has made its last 5 jumpers. 37-29, Edwards back to work. Amoore, the pseudo double team, and then Edwards has it, blocked the first time and the second. 13 to shoot. Now Clara Strack providing the help side defense. It was Hazard originally. She'll pick up Edwards on the perimeter.
Fulwiley, it's been a minute. She got to make it happen.
Contact, no whistle. Outside to Pow. Kitts on the offensive glass. Couple of fakes and the finish.
Chloe Kitts she's a warrior. She has battled.
Kitts with 8, and here's Amoore. Off the hezzy. Georgia Amoore doing what Georgia Amoore does.
She's so quick, and what is so tough defensively, you've got to decide, and if you're going to switch on the ball screen, you've got to close the gap. You can't wait for her to come to you.
Pass into Edwards, under the rim, and was fouled. He's running out of real estate. Hazard picks up the personal.
I like the post-to-post passing by South Carolina. And you watch Joyce Edwards, the patience, the vision. She finds the seam, a little bounce pass, and then Kitts strength off 2 feet inside to get the finish.
Kitts has been averaging over 10 points, 10 rebounds per game in her last 5. Don't forget, Big Monday headed your way tomorrow. An important matchup in the ACC. Cooper Flag, number 2 Duke. KU and Houston from H-Town at 7 and 9 Eastern right here on ESPN.
And Georgia Amoore has had success off ball screens to see how and if South Carolina can adjust. That time a hard show.
And Lawrence drew the contact from Edwards. It wasn't much, but enough for the whistle to be blown by veteran official Timothy Green. Dawn Staley. We're talking with her earlier today. This team was something to prove after the reveal late last week. The Gamecocks were a 2 seed with 12 quad 1 victories and a 12-3 mark against quad 1 teams. Amoore sizes up another long 2. She's now in double figures with 10. The lead down to 8, and the shot clock is off.
How fun, though, is it to watch Georgia Amoore handle the basketball and create her own?
And Kentucky is going to end the half. 7 straight makes, but trailing 41-33 for the time being. Here's Fulwiley. Outside of Pow. Off the heel. And that takes us to halftime. 41-33. South Carolina has been dominant in the paint through our first 20 minutes, and Dawn Staley's got to be pleased with this beginning on the final day of the SEC's regular season. Let's get you to the halftime report. Kelsey Riggs, Rebecca Lobo. Back in Columbia, South Carolina, you're watching the SEC on ESPN. A sandstorm brewing here in the Midlands at Colonial Life Arena in South Carolina. Off and running, shooting a blistering 56% in our first 2 quarters to lead Kentucky 41-33. With the Hall of Famer Carolyn Peck, I'm Roy Philpott, and South Carolina finding ways off the bounce and in the paint to score so far.
They are, but they have got to figure out how to slow down Georgia Amoore. Amoore is the only Kentucky player that is scoring in double figures, and she's been a handful. Even with a ball screen, and she's waiting for a switch and a big on her. I mean, this is just nasty from Georgia Amoore. Now, some other Wildcats have got to help her out. And then on the other end, it's been all attack in the paint. South Carolina, 28 points. And it's not just been 1 or 2 players. They've had 7 different players that have already scored the basketball. And they can do it in so many ways. But you know what they're doing, Roy? They're sticking to their bread and butter. They're getting in the paint, and they're able to finish.
We check out tonight's player resume brought to you by Indeed, and you mentioned it, Coach. Already 5 players with 6 points or more. They will spread the wealth with this program. This season, the leading bench in the country in terms of points per game. Amoore coming right out of the break, and a good sign for UK. Cuts the lead down to 6, and she has 12.
Now, Georgia Amoore off the ball screens. The guard is guarding her. Big setting a screen for her. And so the bigs that rotate over, you see Sanaya Fagan. She takes a step back. When you step back, Amoore steps through that opportunity and knocks it down.
Georgia Amoore has made Kentucky's last 4 field goals going back to the first half. Raven Johnson from 16, well short. Amoore comes away with it. The spin, the hesitation, nearly traveled. She'll loft it outside to Strachan inside the high-low. Key was off the mark. A late whistle comes in from Jody Cantrell. And a foul called against the Gamecocks.
Already an adjustment, Roy, that I see from Kentucky is that they're coming in attack, and then they're looking to move and share the basketball. They're waiting for South Carolina to rotate in the help and then make that extra pass for an easier look.
Key will get 1 more. She's got 7 points. A North Carolina transfer, 11 double-doubles on this season. You mentioned her production really exploding in Lexington compared to what we witnessed in her first 2 years in Chapel Hill. And Key has been a big reason the Wildcats have gotten so much better.
Key suffered an ACL injury her freshman year, and then limited minutes in her sophomore season, 2 seasons at North Carolina. Opportunity has presented itself in Kentucky.
Bree Hall, her first bucket here on senior day in Columbia. And the 3-pointer gives South Carolina an 8-point advantage.
Kentucky moving Georgia Amoore off the point. Now, Fagan closes the gap, takes away one side, but with Amoore having the basketball, she can make so much happen.
5 on the shot clock. Key turns around to see it. Left side of the paint. Key blocked by Kitts. Pow sizes up a triple. Fagan, no. And Kitts was held down. A foul called against Kentucky. Oh, the second on Strack. Boy, the pace in this game, we mentioned it in our first 2 quarters. It's been phenomenal. Advantage South Carolina so far.
I've enjoyed the pace of this game and also the battle on the glass.
I thought you were going to say, and also the commentary.
Well, and sitting here next to you.
Okay, just making sure. 1 more for Fagan. Dawn Staley talking. Raven Johnson. 2 for 2 at the stripe, and just like that, the lead goes from 5 to 10.
You got to play, I feel like, through Georgia Amoore. There's so much attention played to her, and then I trust her in making decisions. Oh, great cut by Strack.
Was fouled on the reverse, and the cut was brilliant for number 13.
Now, the link that Kentucky has with Hassett, Strack, and Tiana Key, they're all interchangeable. So at any time, it could be Strack with the slip, Hassett, or Key. And then when Silva comes in.
Coach, how about Kentucky wearing the black uniforms for the first time in 3 years? The last time it went down was when Wildcats beat South Carolina in the SEC Tournament Championship game back in 2022.
Oh my gosh, Courtney Lyle and I were on the call, and I thought that Courtney, from everything inside, came out when she called the three. It was huge. Diana Edwards knocking down that three-point shot.
What a moment. Gets with position. She'll draw the double team briefly, go around it, and get rejected. It caroms out of bounds. Back to UK.
I like the no call. I think that the officials, Key's hands straight up, like not making this a ticky-tack kind of game. I like that no call.
Final day of the SEC's regular season. If South Carolina wins this game, they'll clinch a share of the regular season title. At least that. Along potentially with Texas. Another block out of bounds, and Strack fell down in the process.
Fagan has a dominating, intimidating presence inside for South Carolina. I think she got a little timid, got in foul trouble against Tennessee, and was playing cautious. That cautious she has thrown to the wind.
In and out with the three by Amoore. Johnson on the move for Carolina. Fagan with position. Outside to Johnson. Gibbs has it. Johnson for three. And out of bounds. Gamecocks working hard on the glass. And a reminder, our ESPN NBA Sunday doubleheader. SGA in the Western Conference leading Thunder take on De'Aaron Fox and the Spurs. That's up first at 7 Eastern. Then the T-Wolves, Anthony Edwards, and the Phoenix Suns tonight at 9:30 Eastern, right here on ESPN. T-Wolves play. They're going to go down by 20 and then grab the lead, and then who knows what down the stretch. It is always appointment television for that organization this year. Under 7 to go in the third quarter. Amoore. And now it's Raven Johnson.
That last possession from South Carolina, I like how they played inside out. Getting touches for Sanaya Fagan. Now Edwards posts inside.
Pow to Hall. And coach, it feels like an opportunity here for Kentucky these last 2 minutes. Try to chip away at this advantage for South Carolina. Has it for three from the wing? No. Key able to race to the basketball. She'll extend the possession and get it back.
They've got Kentucky's gone cold. I don't know if maybe fatigue has set in a little bit for the Wildcats.
That happens this time of year, does it not?
It does, and especially the tempo they had to play against Tennessee. 1 of 7 from the floor in the third quarter.
Gamecocks also 1 for 7. That lead exactly where it was at halftime at 8 points. Can Georgia Amoore find a way? That's a three by Strack. Off the front rim.
Yeah, South Carolina's got 3 players at the scorer's table to rotate in. Kenny Brooks staying with his starters.
And that's been a theme most of this year. Kentucky, in terms of bench production, just over 8 points per game this season. Ranks near the bottom of D1 hoops. Kidd's pass is going to be deflected by Strack. 3-on-2 the other way. Lawrence for three. Huge shot for Kentucky. Lawrence now in double figures with 10. The lead back down to 5.
And now you got to believe Kentucky does not want stoppage of play to let those subs come in.
Hall connected from downtown earlier in the quarter. Here's Powell in mid-range. She'll connect there, and it's 48-41.
Just textbook Powell just curling around that screen and right into an open jumper.
Oregon transfer on point. Double digits with 10. Lawrence gets it back over to Amoore. The dynamic duo help orchestrate this turnaround in year 1 for Kenny Brooks in Lexington. And a mid-range is there again, just inside the three-point arc for Amoore.
Amoore coming off that ball screen. She just reads it so well, and I think that's what's going to make her so valuable at the next level of the WNBA, how she can manipulate ball screens.
Amoore with 14, the lead at 5. Johnson under control with the left hand. Raven Johnson now with 8. Still awaiting the under 5 media timeout. And you can feel the exhaustion that sets in this time of year in the final day of the regular season. Inside and a great finish from Strack.
Watching the communication from Georgia Amoore to Kenny Brooks, and you know Georgia Amoore sits in on coaches' meetings. She knows how he thinks and what he wants in certain situations.
She can take over the huddle during timeouts if needed. Great drive by Bree Hall. The contact, the foul, and 2 free throws coming.
And Kentucky right now down 5. Georgia Amoore running things off the ball screen. Gets the jumper. Kentucky needs more of that.
Let's take a look at today's Wooden Watch presented by Principal. Georgia Amoore leading scorer for Kentucky, over 2,300 points and 800 assists in her career. And with Carolyn Peck, Roy Philpott, that is rarefied air for a basketball player in 2025.
She's an elite company. When you look at that as a feat accomplished by only Caitlin Clark and Sabrina Ionescu, Georgia Amoore has solidified herself as a terrific point guard to play in this game.
And you think about what's to come in March Madness and how far can she lead this program with first-year head coach Kenny Brooks. Those two, well, they know each other so well. Recruited her, obviously, to Virginia Tech. They made a run to the Final Four there. Can they do it again this year in his first campaign in Lexington is the question.
It won't be easy, but if they play, man, the way that they played against Tennessee on Thursday was impressive. Claire Strack did not miss a shot, 11 for 11 from the floor. And Amoore can get hot at any second. You know, she's had, 3 games with 7 threes in those games. So she can light it up. She can get free. She could be a nightmare of a matchup.
2 free throws from Bree Hall. She has 5 points in the quarter. The lead back at 7. Amoore springs free. They'll rotate it around to Lawrence from the corner. Out of the timeout, a well-drawn-up play, but Lawrence off the mark. Fulwiley. And here's Tessa Johnson from 16.
Yeah. Remember Tessa Johnson in the NCAA championship game in the Final Four. She was huge off the bench. Well, she's diversified her game in her sophomore season. Not just a 3-point shooter. That mid-range looked nice.
Key, senior on freshman. Check it, a junior from Cary, North Carolina. She's got 10. And Coach, you can feel South Carolina keeping Kentucky at arm's length through all these different runs that have been made so far in the third quarter. 8-point lead at halftime for the Gamecocks. It's at 7 now, 8 minutes into the third.
Well, all Kentucky needs to do is they need to string together a couple of stops.
Tough to do on Mylasia Fulwiley. Short on the runner. Never grazed the rim. Shot clock down to 1. And a violation gives it back to Kentucky. Well, every time Fulwiley has the crossover, has an opening for a moment, you feel like a SportsCenter top 10 plays on the way.
Every time. And then at times she wants to wrap it behind her back and add a little special spice to it.
Well, the special spice. We need more of that this month now that we're in March. The madness to come.
Now, what I've seen a couple times from Kentucky, though, running the offense, the ball comes to Georgia Amoore, and she's been willing to make that extra pass to Deja Lawrence. Well, Lawrence is 2 for 6 from 3, and Amoore 0 for 4, but I still would take the percentage for Amoore to pull the trigger.
A dribbling clinic put on by Georgia Amoore with Fagan picking up in coverage. Lawrence is open for a moment. Off the front part of the rim, and Key saves it right to Pow Pow. Amoore nearly picked off the pass. Edwards.
Oh, man.
What a sequence there between both sides. Kentucky gets it back.
Do you see how Fulwiley is trying to dictate with Georgia Amoore? Instead of playing her flat and let her pick you apart, send her one direction.
Strack for three, and it's all net. The lead down to 4. 20% shooter from behind the arc this year. Big time bucket at the end of the third. Johnson on the reverse, the response.
You've seen the three from Johnson, the mid-range, and now you see a little bit of the drive.
With a spark off the bench for Don Staley. Tessa Johnson, only a sophomore, can score at all 3 levels.
Now the ball screen action, defending Amoore.
Amoore to Strack again. Rainbow 3 drops. 1 possession game. Clara Strack at the end of the third now with 14 points on the afternoon. And you can feel the fireworks as we get ready for the fourth. Pow pow. Great look to Fulwiley. And the Gamecocks a bucket at the end of the third. The lead at 5 with 10 to go.
And Kentucky continues to hang around here in Columbia. Georgia Amoore making the defense collapse, finding Clara Strack from 3 off the 2-man game. This is going to be fun.
10 minutes to go. The lead at 5 for South Carolina. An SEC regular season championship on the line. And Coach, walk us through that last play.
Well, the execution with the high ball screen, knowing the defense is focused on everything in front of them. Malaysia Fulwiley dashes back door, and Te-Hina Paopao finds her easily.
58-53 with the Hall of Famer Carolyn Peck. I am Roy Philpott. Gamecocks will have the first possession of our fourth quarter. It was an 8-point game at halftime. Kentucky closed it down to 3 seconds before the end of the third. That was as close as it has been since we were at 16-14. Kitts with position, and Edwards on the high-low sends it out of bounds.
Key turnover right now. Now Kentucky take advantage and running ball screen action, but Georgia Amoore needs to, out of that action, look to score it, not just be a passer.
Carla Strack with 2 late threes in the third. She now has 15 on this season. He wondered if she would pull there. Instead, off the glass, and a chance for 3 the hard way. Clara Strack in takeover mode.
The isolation with Strack, catching Edwards on the recovery and then attacking in the middle. You know, then Strack got the and one there, but Tony Key was slipping on the backside there. So they had options out of that play.
Strack has the last 9 UK points. 1 possession game to start the fourth. Johnson rolls in a 3.
That sophomore is solid. Number 5, Tessa Johnson, no fear.
Well, a spark off the bench. She has been incredible at times this year. Nearly stole it from Amoore. Off the pump fake, contested mid-range, no. Kitts claims the board. Hauled it in with a little bit of contact. Paopao says, I got this. She'll survey inside to Kitts. And a whistle and a foul call. That's Key. It's number 3. Let's see. And it will go to Tiani Key. Now the first team foul. Gamecocks with 1 to start our fourth quarter.
Got to believe it's South Carolina down the stretch these last little over 8 minutes. Patience and looking to get the ball in the paint. So how will Kenny Brooks adjust and try to make South Carolina turn them into a jump shot team?
Kitts got Strack on the pump fake, but she recovers for the block, and that was clean.
Kentucky needs a bucket right here.
Key off the bounce, takes Kitt inside. And that's a basket to make it a 1 possession game again. Tiani Key on the move.
Kentucky's going to challenge South Carolina. They're going to pull their offense up above the free throw line and look at 4 attack options.
Edwards on has it. Big step in traffic, and she comes up short. Another rebound for Clara Strack. And here's Amoore. Nearly turned it over. Every possession so important. Strack off the bounce again. The pump fake and the foul. What a second half for Clara Strack. Virginia Tech transfer, second leading scorer. Kitts picks up the personal. And Strack now with 17.7 rebounds. Carolyn.
Well, Kentucky has spread the floor, and they're looking for ball screen action. And in spreading the floor and the ability of Clara Strack to put the ball on the deck, it puts the pressure on South Carolina's defense to where they can get the bucket or she can get to the free throw line.
1 point game, 7:43 to go. And Sanaya Fagan back in. Kitts with 3 fouls will head to the bench for a breather.
And South Carolina playing for a share of the SEC championship.
Fulwiley, the penetration. The lead is 3.
Look how spread open and available the lane is.
Amoore got the bounce on the layup. Far side of the rim, and it dropped. She's got 16. Boy, what a game this has turned out to be. Win by the Gamecocks. Coach, you mentioned it. SEC regular season champions. Texas has to say about that as well. In and out for Johnson. Key on the glass, and she's going to be held. And a foul called on Carolina.
And South Carolina is spread out defensively, and because of that, Kentucky is taking an advantage. The hesitation, nobody, and especially when the ball's in the middle of the floor, nobody knows where to help from, and Kentucky has taken full advantage.
Wildcats have not led in this game. Key will try to change that here, and she cannot. Fulwiley saves it. An acrobatic maneuver down the sideline, coast to coast.
All gas, no brakes for Malaysia Fulwiley. The defensive intensity off the bench is picked up by Malaysia Fulwiley. Getting the block, saving it inbounds, and then keep it yourself, number 12. Have yourself a day, number 12. Get you 2.
Let's take a look at the All-State Tournament predictor and the percentage chance at being a number 1 seed. The upcoming big dance in South Carolina, lo and behold, leads the charge according to ESPN Analytics coach, 66.8%. And it's interesting because in the great reveal on Thursday, Gamecocks were a 2 seed, but you look at a comparison, a blind resume comparison, if you will.
The one to your far left, to me, that's an automatic, no question, is solid to be a number 1 seed. But it's South Carolina who's sitting in the 4 position right now. And I think all of that comes down to the loss that they had against Connecticut. But you look at the losses South Carolina had. They lost to UCLA. They lost to Texas. They lost to UConn. All that were on that previous screen. The other teams, the other losses that they had, those were not of teams that were on TV. These were teams that were lower without the higher potential to win the NCAA championship.
Back to live action out of the timeout. It's going to be poked away for a moment. Strack fights for it, and the held ball, it'll stay on this end. Oh, and a lot of contact there. And we've seen South Carolina amp up the defensive intensity these last 2 possessions. Arrow favors Kentucky, and now it's Amoore. Inside to Strack, up and in, back to a 1-point game.
Kentucky so quick to recognize mismatches and take advantage.
Strack with 17 points in the second half, 21 for the afternoon. And that's off the perfect performance against the Lady Vols on Thursday night. Johnson left open, off the heel. will stay with South Carolina. 5:51 to go. And for Dawn Staley, boy, the schedule this year so difficult. The games that they played on the road at Westwood against UCLA. Road trip to Austin, of course, in league play. And then you mentioned the home game against UConn. And perhaps unfairly penalized for that highly public setback. Johnson, the runner.
I think Dawn Staley looks at growing the game. That's why she was not afraid to play the schedule that she did this season.
Johnson has 14. And she'll defend Amoore. Key thought about it, 9 to shoot. And here's Strack. She's been so dominant. Came up with a loose ball. The arrow favors South Carolina.
Malaysia Fulwiley getting involved. Little dig in when Strack tries to drive. Guards, you got to help your bigs inside.
Win today, and South Carolina claims another SEC regular season championship. Pow from deep. And the Gamecocks double their lead. And a turnover. Fulwiley. Well, she had the ball on a string that time.
But the discipline not to take a bad shot.
And here's Chloe Kitts. Maintains her balance, and there's a whistle. And free throws coming for Chloe Kitts.
But Roy, we've been talking about manipulating ball screens. Watch Pow. But you go behind the screen, Te-Hina is going to make you pay.
Don't forget the SEC Now crew will be in Greenville, South Carolina for the SEC Women's Tournament Championship. And it all gets underway Wednesday on the SEC Network. They'll have pregame, halftime, postgame shows throughout the tournament, providing previews, highlights, analysis, and everything you could ask for. And the bracket entering today, this is what it looks like. And of course, Kentucky and LSU are locked in as a top 4 seed. Kenny Brooks has done a remarkable job to get the Cats a double bye in his first season. But the big mystery is for the number 1 seed between Texas and South Carolina. If both teams win today, because they split the season series, because neither lost another game in SEC play through the course of the regular season, it will come down to a coin flip later today at halftime of the Ole Miss LSU game, with Commissioner Greg Sankey of the SEC doing the toss. And right now, with 10 minutes to go in Austin, Texas has that game well in hand. Carolyn Peck, Roy Philpott, Chloe Kitts going to shoot 2, and the lead at 7.
Yeah, South Carolina has a bit more of a challenge, looks like, tonight than Texas does to close out this regular season. These Kentucky Wildcats are not going to go away. And when I look down, and Kenny Brooks still has 3 timeouts left, he is going to try to orchestrate his way to try to pull off a upset here in Columbia.
7-0 run by South Carolina. Kentucky closed it to a 1-point deficit twice. Both times in the fourth quarter. Amoore short. And Key trying to grab the rebound. It'll stay on this end. An outstanding hustle for number 7.
Watch this, Roy, though. Georgia Amoore, she was 4 threes away from 400 in her career. She has not made one today. Not yet. But she's got to be due.
16 to shoot. 4:06 remaining. And Kenny Brooks directing traffic. It's the first time he's faced off with Dawn Staley. He's a head coach at South Carolina. What a matchup it has been so far. And Strack traveled. And Kenny Brooks not happy with that sequence.
Yeah, South Carolina is going to have to be disciplined with the basketball down the stretch right now to close this thing out.
Fulwiley, wide open pass, missed the layup. A break for Kentucky. Has it for three. Strack tracks down the rebound. Deja Lawrence has the pass picked off by Pau. 2-on-1, Johnson. Four straight turnovers for UK and the lead at 10. 74-64, we are back in 30. Ten-point lead for number 6 South Carolina, trying to claim another SEC regular season championship. Carolyn Peck, Roy Philpott, and a 9-0 burst in the last 2.5 minutes. The difference. The 9th steal of the game for Carolina. Fulwiley, no. Kitts, foul.
You know what gives you cushion on the offensive end is the defense. And the Gamecocks have been very stingy in this fourth quarter. Been very tough for Kentucky to get into their offensive action.
One more for Kitts. Kentucky had 0 turnovers in the second half before the last 5 possessions, which have all ended in a turnover. South Carolina defensively has been lights out. And from a 1-point lead to now 11.
I mean, that was a blink of an eye. But the defensive pressure, South Carolina has the ability to turn up.
Amoore blocked by Kitts, out of bounds. Coach, it's just a different level of defensive tenacity we've seen in the last 3 minutes.
That's what South Carolina has to hang their hat on. It's on the defensive end, not caught up in whether or not they're making shots. They're going to miss shots. They're going to miss certain layups, though Don doesn't want to do that. But you give yourself a cushion if you lock down on the defensive end.
Strack with 23. Pau the lob to Kitts. She hauls it in under the rim. Outside to Fulwiley. Amoore climbs the ladder for the board.
Kentucky's going to have to go quick.
Approaching 2 to play, trailing by 9. Johnson on Amoore, mid-range, right side of the rim. 3-on-2, Fulwiley, yes!
I think Kentucky's got to run Amoore off some screens, but too much pressure from Malaysia Fulwiley.
10 steals for Carolina and a foul on Lawrence.
I asked Dawn Staley how she felt Malaysia Fulwiley was playing as of late, and she said she has found her superpower. It's not about scoring buckets, but about using your speed, using it on both ends of the floor, and she's done that defensively so well in this fourth quarter.
South Carolina with an 11-point lead. Texas a commanding advantage in Austin over Florida. And we appear to be heading down that path of a coin flip to determine the number 1 seed in the upcoming SEC tournament in Greenville. It gets underway on Wednesday. And again, Texas and South Carolina only 1 league loss, and it came against each other. No other setbacks in conference play, and that means a coin flip to decide the number 1 seed. Both teams deemed champions, co-champions of the SEC's regular season, and that coin flip will take place at halftime of Ole Miss LSU. Game will be broadcast on the SEC network starting at 4 Eastern, and we will have live coverage of the coin flip with Commissioner Greg Sankey at the break in between the second and third quarters down in Baton Rouge.
I'm excited about it because it's going to keep you tuned in women's basketball and the SEC all the way through the afternoon to wait on the coin toss. But I think that moving forward, oh man, I'd really like to see it go down to point differential if it gets that close.
Kitts travel, gives it back to UK. 90 seconds to go. I think a lot of folks would agree with you, but it does make for great television later today.
That's why I'm loving it, because I think people they've got to tune in to see who is going to be the #1 seed in the SEC tournament. Why does that matter? Well, the higher seed, the 1 seed, plays earlier in the day. So they play on Friday. If they were to advance, then they play on Saturday. Remember, it's daylight savings time. You're going to lose an hour between Saturday and Sunday. That extra rest and prep time is invaluable.
I did not have that on my bingo card today. That is great intel. Hall of Famer Carolyn Peck. Fulwiley, already 6 points in the quarter. Not this time. Kitts in a sea of black, and she draws the contact. Chloe Kitts back to the free throw line. And just quietly going about another incredible start for head coach Dawn Staley. 11 points, 9 rebounds before that last sequence. And it was the triple-double at Ole Miss when she really is turning out to be an incredible player down the stretch.
Now, what I'm seeing from South Carolina, especially over the last 2 games, they have relied so heavily on their reserves. But it has been plays like what Chloe Kitts is doing, Sanaya Fagan, Te-Hina Pow. So that makes South Carolina a very dangerous team when they're getting big buckets from both starters and the reserves.
South Carolina calls the timeout. Gamecocks in the bonus the rest of the way. And just 3 team fouls so far in the fourth quarter. And we went through the list of important coin flips throughout history. I don't know that college basketball coin flip falls into that category when you look at the naming of the city of Portland or the Wright brothers figuring out who's going to pilot the very first flight in the history of the planet. But there is a lot to be determined, and a lot of folks are going to be tuned in to just see, will it be Texas? Will it be South Carolina? Both teams, again, share the regular season SEC championship, so you get to hang the banner in Austin and here in Columbia.
But I just wonder how the committee's going to look at it as well when it comes to seeding. If you flip the coin and you're #1, overall #1, does that matter? Or both get credit for being the top dog?
Lawrence for 3. She comes up short, but let's be honest. The team we're watching today, the team that just won in Oxford, the team with 12 quad 1 victories, this is a #1 seed.
No question. I don't think it should be a question mark in the committee's mind that South Carolina should be barely on that 1 seed. They should be secure with the way that they have played and the competition that they have played this season.
And a foul around the screen as Johnson tried to spring loose. And it'll go against Kitts. So the offensive foul, the shot clock is off, the lead at 12. And the Gamecocks sensing another SEC title. Impressive comeback for Kentucky. Incredible block by Fagan, and that's going to do it. Time winding down in Columbia. And the South Carolina Gamecocks, SEC champions once again. An incredible senior class as South Carolina ends the game on a 13-2 run. What a performance.
Well, when you're trying to close out for a championship, you have to turn up your defense and you've got to own the glass. And it felt like that's what South Carolina did to close this out. But if we can talk about how Dawn Staley compliments her signed class of 2021, that was Raven Johnson, Bree Hall, and Sanaya Fagan. Like, all they have ever known is winning the regular season SEC's championship. They've just done it for the 4th time.
2 national titles as well, the winningest class in the history of South Carolina basketball, and the trophy presentation taking place right now.
Season titles. Let's hear it for your 2025 SEC regular season champion, your South Carolina Gamecocks.
We just want to say, honestly, we got to say much respect to our conference. Like, the Southeastern Conference is the best conference in the country. So to win another regular season conference championship means a great deal, because these aren't going to come by very easily, as you can see. Thank you for pouring into us all season long. Thank you for pouring into us in this game, because we needed you. To our seniors, to our grads, to all the players that will never play another regular season game in this building, we thank you. We thank you for giving us memories, like championship memories. To our returners, whoever you are. To our returners, there's not a better crowd in the country. It ain't even close. It ain't even close. There's not better fans in the country that's going to give our returners an opportunity to continue to do this and win these. So, we'll see you all in Greenville. We're going to need you. Thank you.
Thanks for coming out to Colonial Life Arena for our final game here this season. Our final score, your Gamecocks 78, Kentucky 66. Fans, we thank you for your attendance all season long. Have a good evening and drive home safely.
What an atmosphere, what a finish as this game ends today to give South Carolina the share of the SEC regular season championship on a 13-2 run, just when Kentucky had pushed Carolina to the brink twice. What a victory for Dawn Staley and her program, again claiming another conference title.
Well, the performance that they put on tonight, and Dawn Staley making the statement that they were going up the road to Greenville for the SEC tournament, I can guarantee you there'll be a lot of these folks that are going to make that drive and be in Greenville starting next Wednesday.
Gamecocks become the first team to win 4 straight SEC regular season championships since the Lady Vols won 7 straight from 1998 to 2004. Congratulations to USC as South Carolina gets it done. For Carolyn Peck, I'm Roy Philpott. Let's get you back to the studio. Kelsey Riggs and Rebecca Lobo.